Well, it's a well-known fact that when a woman becomes pregnant, she starts eating for two. Yes, that's right. But that doesn't mean that she's working out is out of the question. Now, a new paper written by Lehman College professor Brad Schoenfeld details how women who are carrying can benefit from strength training because it actually can reduce the chances of women being diagnosed with diabetes or any other illness. Professor Schoenfeld is on the set to tell us more on the article and exercise science program, I should say, here on the campus of Lehman College. And good to have you, Professor.
Pleasure to be here, Dan.
Good. Talk to us a little bit about this, because obviously the ladies, as we said, you're pregnant, start eating for two. But then yet and still sometimes the exercise regimen is not a woman's first priority, but it can actually help.
Yeah, we're still living in many ways back 50 years ago when women were told to have bed rest, and certainly it has come a little ways where women now I think are more receptive as a general whole to doing some type of exercise, but it's still far from where it should be. If you look at the statistics, the average woman spends much less time exercising than the average pregnant woman spends much less time exercising than someone who is not pregnant. Mm-hmm. And it actually falls way off. What you see is that as the pregnancy goes on, the exercise levels really deteriorate. So it is something that has huge benefits for the pregnant woman, really even more so than for a non-pregnant woman. Mm-hmm. So it's something they should be doing and unfortunately aren't doing enough.
So pregnant, are we seeing more pregnant women becoming motivated to exercise, or are we seeing a little bit of this apathy here?
Well, it's a little about the problem is the primary exercise is just walking. If you look at the statistics, very few women are actually lifting weights, and that really was the essence of the paper, was that strength training can be one of the most important things that a pregnant woman can do, and unfortunately that is something that they're really not doing.
Talk to us about this, because when we hear you did a study actually.
Well, I reviewed the research. This was actually a research review where I looked at all the literature and then came up with conclusions.
What were some of the things that stood out for you in there?
Well, first of all, that the incidence of lower back pain, now pregnant women have about a 75% incidence of lower back pain. You can cut that in half through strength training exercises, through core type exercises. Really, you can't do that through any other type of exercise, and that's huge. The improvement in functional capacity is huge for women who lift weights versus those that don't. Women and the functional capacity loss of being able to do your basic everyday chores ends up having effects on their overall self-esteem. So that by reducing their functional capacity, you often will see depression in women. So just by exercising, doing strength training exercise, you see huge improvements in their functional capacity and thus in their self-esteem.
Now we have a pregnant lady that's watching the show right now, and she's saying, listen, I do not feel like exercising. Do you know what I feel like? Tell her the benefits.
Well, yeah, first of all, that once you start actually doing it, you feel a lot better. It's actually getting to the gym or getting to do your exercise that's the most important thing. And once you do, then you feel better. As far as benefits, there are health-related benefits. You touched on a couple at the beginning, but reduced incidence of gestational diabetes, maternal hypertension, so all these health benefits, reductions in lower back pain, as I talked about, which is huge, improvements in functional capacity. There's better outcomes with the fetus. There's a reduced incidence of labor. You have shorter labor times, reduced stay in the hospital, reduced cesarean, C-sections, and there actually has been shown that there are beneficial effects on the fetus itself, where the fetus has less body fat, and there's even a really interesting study which shows that they're more neurally developed at 5 years post. Women who had exercised had babies who were more neurally developed 5 years after birth.
Pretty interesting information there. So if women want to find out more about this, what should they do?
Well, certainly they can read my study, which does get a little technical, but consult some. I do actually have a book called Sculpting Our Body Perfect, which has a chapter on pregnancy training, which they can follow, or consult a qualified fitness professional. And I do emphasize the word qualified because you have to make sure that the person you're seeing is understanding of what the research shows on this.
Now, you are considered as the trainer of trainers, so I'm going to talk to you right now because we're here in 2012 and it's still January, and a lot of people have New Year's resolutions. Some people have made exercise and getting in shape part of their New Year's resolution, and some people have broken it. I won't name any names. But now, talk to us about the importance of really setting that goal of really being healthy and taking on exercise as a part of that daily regimen?
Well, first of all, you just hit on the really important thing, is that setting goals is really the essential or the most important factor in terms of having long-lasting fitness. The problem with most people is that they get into the gym and they have their goal to lose a few pounds or whatever, and they're not focused on what their goal is. You need to set tangible goals, number one, that are measurable. So it's not just I want to lose some weight and tone up. That's not a measurable goal. You need to have measurable goals, and then you need to break them into shorter term goals. So if your goal is to lose 30 pounds, you're not going to do that by next week. You need to break that down into shorter term goals. I want to lose 6 pounds by the end of the month, and then another 6 pounds. So once you achieve these goals, you keep going through it.
So goal setting is one of the most important things, but then I guess consistency and follow-up. Because, really, let's get down to it. When you really talk about doing something like this, half of the battle is just mental.
Yep. And part of the other problem is that most people get frustrated. They don't know what they're doing. One of the things I always say is that you wouldn't change the spark plugs in your car if you don't know about auto mechanics. Well, exercise is a bigger science than auto mechanics. Don't just expect you're going to go to the gym, get on the treadmill for 20 minutes and lift a few weights and you're going to get buff. It's just not going to happen. You need to understand what you want to do and what you have to do, and then have a systematic routine to get you there.
So we encourage you to get more information from Eric, and so you said the article is available?
Yeah, the article is available through the Strength and Conditioning Journal. You can see it online through the NSCA. Just access it. It's NSCA-lift.org.
And then we also tell you that he has a book out, as he said, and he's also a professor at Lehman College, and he's still continuing to do some strength and training, huh?
I try to do a little, yes.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us interesting information.